Welcome back, everybody, to the American Plumber. I'm Morgan, and I'll be with you today on this important episode because likely if you're watching this, you're another tradesman or a plumber that's probably dealing with the same type of things. And this episode is how to stay positive as a plumber, how to keep the right mindset, because it is a roller coaster ride to say the least. We've got lots of ups and downs in this business. And, for example, most journeyman plumbers in the United States are in the top 10 to 20% income earners in all of America, which is good. I mean, it's a hard job, takes skill, very important. It's estimated, I think, that some ridiculous number every year of lives are saved because of clean potable water. In the thousands or hundreds of thousands. It's very high. Either way, very important. And this job is, as you would expect, it can be stressful, especially for any niche of plumbing, but especially like the service business that we're in. It's very much a roller coaster ride. And I think it's important to keep a positive and good mindset throughout your journey. And this is with any profession, but I'm a plumber, and so I'm going to talk to plumbers. All right. You never know. You could be in a fight with your wife, where things aren't going so well at home. Your boss is frustrating you because they're pulling you too many different directions at the same time. You have a customer that chewed you out, or really things went sideways on a job, and you start to feel like the sky's falling down on you. Happens, all right? It happens with everybody, but in this world, especially where I'm at, we're going to kind of focus on the service plumber, the service guy, service heating and air guy, service electrician. You're expected to go to a customer's house, put the smile on, and, hi there, Mrs. Johnson. I'm here today to take a look at the water heater that's out. I know it's a real inconvenience that your hot water went out, and we're going to get this taken care of today. Okay? And you got to put that face on. You got to go there with a good attitude. You got to show up. You got to diagnose it. And then you actually have to make things happen. So, it might be 3:30 p.m. after a long day that didn't go so well. And it's very hard to put that face on every time you pull up to a job. Knock, 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 put the booties on. Hi there. And then she might be very in a different state of mind, very frustrated. She's having a bad day as well. And your job is to kind of calm things down and make things happen. And pretty soon you're working until 6 o'clock, and things aren't good at home. It can really start to wear on your brain. Okay, I've seen it happen a lot with guys in the trades. Me, myself included, maybe you've got a great wife and family at home, and she has to do a lot too. She's raising children, taking care of the house, hopefully keeping it nice for you all, and you're providing the income. If it's like my family, and I believe, most of my guys too, they're for the most part, they're providing the majority of the income for the household. And sometimes your wife even has to work too. And, so this can just create a lot of tension. You feel exhausted at the end of the day, like you're doing everything to provide. And then you get home and you've got a bad attitude or whatnot, and it just trickles down. And what happens is you end up falling apart. You just can't maintain that forever. So trying to maintain a healthy mindset is so important to keep the ball rolling, to be able to show up every day, do better for yourself, for your family, and to also try to enjoy life for what it is. This is it's an experience that we live through, and we're put in a very kind of strange position, going and solving problems all day, every day. And People expect you to be professional, to be nice, to have a good attitude, to be clean. And if you don't, sorry, if you don't live up to those expectations, you're going to get complaints, could lead to getting fired, could lead to you quitting. And then, you may find yourself a few months later kicking yourself going, why did I quit? I had such a good thing going. And that's the problem, is a lot of these issues happen kind of in the moment. So what I'm going to talk about is, what do we do? What do I do? What do guys I know that have been able to do this for a long time do to kind of maintain a steady mindset, a more or less positive mindset, and be able to go back every day and put yourself through kind of the battle zone, the war zone. If you find yourself in a moment, I had one of these just last Thursday, okay? I'm just going to walk you through it, okay? I've got small business, but multiple guys going around, working, doing different jobs. First job of the day, we had a restaurant, water heater leaking internally, needed to be changed out. It's an 80-gallon gas, which is, they're not real easy to find. So we have one supplier about an hour away that was going to deliver it, and they promised me it would be delivered by 7. And I promised the business owner of the restaurant that we would have him up and running by 11:30, which is when they opened, with hot water. My guy calls me. They had the old water heater drained. They did everything right. They had the old water heater drained and ready to go, be out of there by 8 a.m. Where's the water heater? It's not here. Can you call the supply house? Long story short, the driver to the supply house slept in. We didn't get our water heater until noon. So I ended up discounting the business owner to try to keep, he was a very easy guy to deal with, thank the Lord. And, but at the same time, I felt like, he deserved a discount because I wasn't able to maintain my end of the bargain. The supplier did end up discounting me the amount that I discounted the customer, which I appreciate. Didn't cover all of our lost time, but it kind of started the day on that. That was very stressful for me, and it doesn't sound like a lot now, and this is what I'm kind of getting at. But then the very following job that we sent my tech to that just left the water heater, he goes to another call where the guy wanted to have us basically assess it. We showed him the problems, and then he just didn't want us to do anything. So, it just faded out as an eval. He just wanted a free answer, I guess. Not free, but, we lose money on eval fees. So anyways, not a big deal. Today's still going decently. The very next call, my guy goes to do a repair on some faucets, which he repaired one, and him and the customer got into a disagreement, and it was not good. The customer had paid us and basically told him to leave, and we thought, we don't like that. We try to provide 5-star service. I want to provide solutions. I know these people are paying their hard-earned money to get us out there and take care of stuff, and thank God our CSR, Elizabeth, she's a really good human, good gal, and she was able to talk to the customer and say, hey, can we come out there and make this right? And eventually the customer agreed to let me go out there personally as the owner and try to make things right, in which that situation I was able to go out there, fix the faucet correctly, and keep the customer content, even though it's very hard to salvage a job after things go sideways. So I dealt with that. And this actually happened the next day is when I went back. The first day, we just heard that he got kind of run off of a job. She had paid the bill. Job didn't get finished. I called her. She wouldn't answer the phone. Elizabeth luckily was able to talk to her and have me scheduled for the following day. Anyways, I kind of jumped ahead. But then on the same day, going back, right after that call happened, I normally try to stay in the office because there's permits, there's a lot of things that need to be done in the background, but I also am a plumber, and it's hard when you're a plumber. You know how it is. If you're in my shoes, you go out and you do jobs. So I had to go out and do a sewer line cleaning, and for a trucking company that we work with, And so sure enough, we get out there, and I have a jetter with a 200-foot hose on it, which would have made this job extremely easy. But the jetter was on my laborer's truck. He was out doing another drain call. So he shows up, and the jetter had gotten tipped over in the back of the van and broke. So, we go to fire it up, and there's just white smoke everywhere. Everyone's looking at us, and this is after everything else that happened. And I don't know what it was. I think I was on the phone for 6 hours that day or something as well to go to boot. So, I'm on the phone all day. All these things are going wrong. The jetter fires up. It would have been such a quick job. And we end up having to pull the cart reel. I have a smaller backup kind of jetter pressure washer conversion that I got out of my van, and we were able to limp it along and get them draining. But when that jetter smoke came out, I was just tapped out, man. And then the complaint and the late water heater. And then as my guy was leaving, he almost backed into a guy driving a semi-truck out of the driveway. And it was very close. Luckily, there was an old guy there that knocked on the side and told him to stop. That day just put my mind in the dumps, okay? And believe me, so being a plumbing technician has enough of its own ups and downs, and then owning a business and having multiple guys, the ups and downs are even steeper. For some reason, I don't know, it was probably a combination of where my mind was at that day, but then also everything that went wrong really put my mind in the gutter. So I shut my phone to silent. I've been through this enough to know myself, and I knew it was already 7 p.m. I worked till 7 p.m. and I start at 6:30. I wake up at 5, work out a little bit, and probably start working at 6:30. So it was like 7:30 by the time I got home. On my way home, I just put my phone to silent. My guys were still trying to call because he was curious about the complaint and everything. Anyways, what I ended up doing was shut my phone off, and I just could tell I'm in a bad spot right now. I don't know why, but just downward spiral. Once you get in that downward spiral, it's hard to make it go back up again. So I went to sleep, and I tried to make sure I get a good night's sleep. So I got a full 8 hours of sleep, and that's all it took. The next day when I woke up, I was cautious, but my mind was in the right spot. I worked out. I started the day out. I'm like, okay, let's regroup, fresh mindset. Let's not worry about yesterday. Let's get to it. We were able to fix the jetter. It wasn't that big a deal. I went over and I smoothed over that job and got it to where, customer was happy. I hope she is. She seemed to be. The next day went very smooth. It was a Friday. And then I got done at, I think, 4 p.m. And then I basically put my phone on silent for the weekend. We took my kids to the lake. We went morel mushroom hunting. We went trout fishing, caught a bunch of nice trout. Hung out at the family cabin. And had just a really enjoyable weekend. And then starting out yesterday on Monday, things were going good. And it's just, I know there's going to be more trying times, but it's not so much you just have to keep fighting the fight, okay? Keep showing up. It's these moments. It's the same reason people in this country, I believe, a lot of times they commit suicide and whatnot. It's sad, but you have to have that bigger purpose, and you also have to know. I think I heard it from I can't remember who it was on a podcast, but if you stay, it's like being in the ocean, and the water's up to here. You feel like you're gonna drown, but if it's high tide. If you stay there, eventually the tide will go out. You have to stay in the game. And that's a good theme for plumbers and electricians. It's eventually, if it's all ramped up and everything is going poorly, stay in the fight, stay in the game, and you'll get through it. and you'll end up on the other side and you'll look back and go, man, it wasn't that big a deal. Because now when I look back at that day, I'm like, why did it get me so worked up? It really shouldn't have, it really shouldn't have, but it did. And that's with all of us. Our minds are they're not necessarily designed, I don't think, to handle all the stress that we do deal with on a day-to-day basis. And it's not like it's life or death. It's just stressful situations. So I think, if you're in the moment, it's okay if you just got done with a really bad situation. Normally I eat on the go, but go take a lunch, sit down, shut your phone off for 30 minutes, grab a bite to eat, enjoy yourself, like take your time, eat your food, just clear your mind. I would recommend just shut your phone off or put it on silent, put it to your side, just have a good lunch, if that's what time of day it is. If you're at the end of the day, just have a really good night's sleep. Make sure you get a good 8 hours of sleep. And then just kind of mentally reset, clear your mind, and realize that, this one situation doesn't describe your entire life. In that moment, everything could be falling apart. But, divorces happen that way. It's you still love each other, but in this one thing can spiral out of control to the point where you really do want to just leave. But then if you really think about the long tail effect, it's like, do I really want, because of this one moment, do I want to have to pick up my children from another guy's house when my wife's with somebody else? Or do I want to live alone? Do I want to, is it, sometimes it's warranted, but also a lot of times I think these things happen because of a bad moment that spirals out of control. So I think it's really worth taking the time to reset and get a clear mind before you make these big decisions. And even smaller decisions, I quit. That same type of thing happens because of a bad day where stuff is just out of control. So, if my guys, it hasn't necessarily come up as of late, but even last week when he got his complaint, Elizabeth said, go take the rest of the day. I'm okay with that. You got to go into every job with a good mindset. You mentally, you got to be there. You got to want to fix the problems. If you go in there and you just are hating everything, you're not going to think clearly. You might not even do the job right. So it's very important. You're a professional. You're expected to do good work, and you can't do good work if your mind's not in the right spot. So figure out how to start getting yourself there. And sometimes people are so far in the weeds that it's really going to take some effort to pull yourself out, okay? Look at your life, kind of try to separate yourself from your own head and kind of try to get a bird's eye view looking down and go, am I happy with where I'm at? What is it that I can improve on? Am I drinking too much? Am I doing it to cope with, life, which, I like drinking too, but, like right now, the belly's showing it. I need to cut it back. I don't overly drink, but I like to have beers, and it's always this teetering thing of like, I enjoy it, but also, I want to stay healthy, because being healthy, I think, helps the mind. So stay calm. You're the pro. You're on a customer. They're getting all worked up. Like if you're at a customer's house and they're getting all worked up about the situation, you need to stay calm. Okay? Don't let that customer get in your head. You're going to have to see another 1,000 customers in your lifetime. You can't let this one person spiral you out of control. Stay calm. Customers getting worked up. Man, let's call my supervisor. Let's see what we can do to make this right. If you have to, look, if we're not a good fit, perhaps the best thing for me to do is to not charge you today for the assessment here, and it's time for me to leave. Let's call my supervisor and see if that's what the right move is here, or if we can move forward. There's ways to negate these situations and calm it down and be the professional, be the bigger person, and it also will help you keep your mind right. Because if you're talking to whoever it is and they're getting worked up and you're getting worked up, well, I'm doing the best I can, it doesn't do anybody any good. All you're going to do is end up leaving that job furious, pissed off, taking it home to your family, and then you're going to go back the next day with a salty mindset for the next customer that's probably excited to just get their plumbing fixed. And you're bringing baggage with you. Just don't do that. Try not to. And I know it's hard, but it's something you got to work towards. If you want to be successful in especially the service plumbing business, you've got to get got to keep that clear mindset, okay? You can kindly walk away. You got to know when to say no, okay? There's certain jobs. I always try to help everybody and provide 5-star service, but there is certain jobs where if it's not what we do and it's not what I'm good at, I can tell the person. I can do the plumbing, but as far as, modifying your countertop to fit this new sink, I don't have the tools or the expertise. I might break something. Here's a guy that I work with and trust. Let's have him get it ready. And you might lose the job, but at least you kept your mind clear, because you know you're going to get frustrated when you're doing something you're not competent in or you're not good at. And that is where a lot of things in my life have been as well, where you're trying to do work that you're not proficient in. It takes 10,000 hours to master something. So you probably, watching this, you very well may not even have that in plumbing. So get really good at what you need to be good at, and let somebody else be good at what they're good at, okay? You got to know when to say no. And when I say that, I don't necessarily mean, no, I don't do that. Be like, I don't do that, but I know somebody who is very good at it. Try to provide solutions. Use your days off to recover. Okay, that's a big one for me. I used to work all through the weekends, and it might have even just been at home. And I know you got home projects that got to be done, but try to at least give yourself one day to just mentally reset. Because if you just work Monday through Friday, long days, which most plumbers do, you come home, you're dealing with the kids and the family. Saturday, you got chores to do at home. Well, Sunday, there's a reason they call it a day of rest. I think there's a good reason that's a thing. I think it's very good for the mind, and it helps keep you in a good place mentally, so that you can be good with your family and with your customers and your co-workers. If you don't allow yourself that day of rest, I think it really does kind of eventually accumulate. You can keep things up for a while. You can keep up that hard work grind for a month or two, but then, eventually you burn out. And so try to find yourself a day of the week to clock out. For me, that's usually with my family, but if you need to be alone, maybe you can't do a full day, but at least say, hey, I need 2 hours. I'm going to go on a walk. I'm going to go, and don't have your phone on you, like that. That's very hard for me. I'm just now learning that if I can I'll keep my phone, I'll put it on vibrate or silent and try to not pay attention to it, because I'll find myself checking it. And if it's just a couple hours, that's all it takes for a good reset. Okay? Try to use a day off or so to recover. I'm trying to keep organized. I used to be, not that I've ever been messy, but I would let things get out of hand. And I'll pan around in here in this is my little man cave studio. That's my old dog there. Let's get this back. Luckily, I'm to the point, I think I got this all jacked up now. Hold on, guys. That'll work. I'm to the point now where, for the most part, my house, my garage, I like fishing and hunting, outdoor stuff. It's all pretty well organized. I've got everything labeled in bags and ready to go. And it helps so much, just because that was a big part I realized of my stress. Was I wanted to go, say, fishing on the weekend, and I couldn't find any of my gear. So then that's stressful too. What the hell, kids? Where did you leave my fishing pole? It's out by the pond. It's all rusted up. And now it's like, no, guys, we have a home for things. When you're done, put it back. And it takes, obviously, kids a while to learn, but now I think they appreciate it. They put the pole. My little son, who fishes all the time, puts the fishing pole back, because every time he would leave it out and it would get messed up, I would tell him, if you'd have put that back, you could have just grabbed the pole and gone fishing. Instead, you let it sit out there and get all tangled up and you're rusty. And now you gotta have to pitch in to buy a new one. And so let me show you. I got little bags like this for fishing gear, hunting gear, hiking gear. This one says camera gear. It's kind of what I do for shooting videos. And it took a little bit of an investment to get organized like that, but it was ultimately such a good move for me because it gets my weekend started so quickly. I just find everything. I feel good mentally. I feel organized in myself because I know where everything's at. I know, on a Friday night, I can be ready to go in 45 minutes where it used to take hours to pack, right? So it's little things like that can really help create good habits and create that clear mind and get you, either way, I still, like I just said, have these downward spirals, but the bounce back is quicker because I'm organized and whatnot, So when I had that really rough day and Friday I'm ready to go just unwind, I just grabbed stuff. It took me probably only took me 10, 15 minutes, to be honest, to load my stuff in the car and take off to the cabin. And I'm on vacation mode, whereas I've had times in the past where I'm digging around in the garage. There's the reel, there's the cooler, there's the stove or whatnot, and it takes like 2 hours. And by the time you're packed, you're kind of stressed out just from the packing, let alone the unpacking. Then where do you put it? You just put it in a pile in your garage and then go through it. I've been there. It's not now. When I get home from when we got home on Sunday from our trip, it was very nice because I put the poles back, put my bags back where they go. We had some 22s that we were shooting for fun. Put them in the safe, put the cases up where they go, and it took me maybe 15, 20 minutes. And then I was able to pull the morel mushrooms out we found and cooked them. And me and the wife hung out. We had a good time on Sunday evening, and I was back to work on Monday. And I didn't feel like any weight because everything was put away. Everything was done, right? Because what I think a lot of people are doing is they're living lives where nothing ever gets done. It just kind of accumulates. And so then there's always this pressure, this weight on you. So anyways, that's my good habits tips. I think working out and trying to do something physical, get your 10,000 steps is a good idea as well. I think just staying physically somewhat active kind of helps keep the minds clear or able to bounce back like I talked about. But I hope that helps, guys. And if you like this video, please subscribe. Let me know what you think. If you've got any other tips, I still struggle with it. So this is what I've found has helped me get to where I'm at. And obviously I've got a long ways to go. I think we all do. But I hope that helps. And this is a long one, so I guess I was really into it. So y'all take care. We'll see you on the next one.